Here.
He's here.
Okay.
He'll be back in.
Cecil Anderson. Terry Kerr.
Here.
Sherry Garrett.
Present.
Rebecca Longmire.
Here.
Paul Huff.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, and Mr. Anderson? Do we need to hear Garrett say here? Okay. Mr. Anderson, if you would please lead us in our pledge. Thank you. Okay, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals are volunteers from each commission district. We do not receive compensation for our work on the board or training that we attend. And as a quasi-judicial body, we avoid ex parte conversations and conduct our business in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. My name is Terry Kerr, and I'm the chair of the board. And to my left is Ms. Longmire, who is the vice chair, and to my right is Mr. Moyers at the law director's office. And Steve, would you let us know who you have with you today?
Yes, I have myself, Kim Jarnigan, Kelly Vaughn, and Mike Reynolds is here representing Knox Planning.
Okay, wonderful. Our voting procedure requires 5 positive votes for a motion to be approved regardless of the number of board members that are present. And today we have 9 members. All members are present. I'd like to have a motion for someone to approve the minutes from last month.
Move to approve.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So approved. All right, the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals is authorized to grant variances and hear other matters by the Tennessee Code and the Knox County Zoning Ordinance. Specifically, these laws prescribe parameters required to grant a variance, and the burden of proving the grounds for a variance request rests upon the applicant. For each matter, the clerk will read the request into the record. I will then ask if the applicant is present, and then ask if there is opposition or other speakers who wish to present. You do not have to come forward at this time, but once we determine the speakers for the item, we'll call on the governmental agencies such as Knox County Codes, Planning, or Engineering to make statements regarding the facts pertinent to the property and background of the request. Board members may ask questions of the governmental agencies once they have made their statements. Then I'll call on the applicant to come forward and state their name and address for the record and present your evidence and reasoning supporting the granting of a variance. If there is no opposition, the applicant has 10 minutes to present their case, and if there is opposition, the applicant and opposition each have up to 15 minutes. After the applicant's presentation, board members may ask questions of the applicant. Then I'll call for opposition or other parties who have up to 15 minutes to speak. This 15 minutes applies to all parties, so if there are multiple parties that wish to speak, please determine how you're going to divide your time beforehand. After the opponents speak, the board members may ask questions of the opponents. And finally, there'll be a discussion of the case by the board, during which time board members may ask further questions of parties that have already testified. Then the board will make any determinations it deems necessary. Our bylaws allow an applicant at the initial hearing on a matter to request a deferral of 30 or 60 days without prejudice. In the event of a deferral of an application or failure to appear, any opponents may be heard on the record at a meeting where the application they oppose appears on the agenda. All right, and if the law director would please swear in those who would testify.
All right, if you're here to address any matter on the agenda, if you're an applicant or you're here opposing something, you tend to speak to this body, please stand and raise your right hand. All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Be seated.
And we're looking for agenda changes or corrections today.
Item 5A has requested to be postponed for 30 days to the July meeting.
Okay, do we need to vote on that, or is that fine? Okay, that's fine. Okay, and Madam Clerk, if you would please read the first item.
It's item 4A, request of Doug Warren for waiver of front yard setback from 50 feet to 10 feet. Properties located at 1821 Harris Lane, CLT map 136, parcel 09201, property zoned AG in the 9th Commission District.
You are the applicant.
Yes.
Do we have any opposition? I see none. And if you would please state your name and address for the record.
I can't hear very well.
Oh, if you would state your name and address for the record.
Doug Warren, Douglas J. Warren,
Okay. And your address?
1821 Harris Lane.
Okay. Do y'all have anything that you need to
We do
say?
not.
Okay. All right. And if you would please give us your reason and your evidence supporting your request for your variance.
As you can see, the lot is just very narrow on that end of the property. And it's really the only place that exists on the property that is flat and level and is usable. It's all very wooded, which I don't know that that matters, but
Okay. Yes, I'm looking at 50 to 10 feet. Okay. Is there what does the topo look like there?
what is the what?
The topography? Are you said you're flat, but you have some trees that would be in the way?
In that area, it is flat.
Okay.
And
So with what you're asking for, you couldn't move the structure to where?
it's a structure that I have yet to build.
Right.
I just want to build in that area, and the rule states it must be 50 feet from the road, and the lot is only 50 feet wide there.
Okay, are you not able to move the structure to, to fit within what you're looking for? And if not, why?
No, it's just the only area that it really fits and is level, and my driveway is over there. There's a pump house down to the right, and as you can see, there's a steep hill all along the eastern border.
Okay. All right, that's kind of what I was,
Yeah.
Ms. Longmire?
This is all very intimidating.
No,
I'm sorry.
please, you're fine, you're fine.
Yeah, you're doing well. What's the purpose of this building?
It's a pole barn. I have a camper that I want to park there. The whole lot is wooded, and I just don't want it to sit outside. I get pine needles and tree sap, and it'll just be
I do understand.
very bad for the
So
camper.
it's not for agricultural purposes.
Pardon?
It's not for agricultural purposes. It is
No.
for storage.
It's storage. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Hold 1 second for us, okay? I think so. I don't think it does. Have you had any of your neighbors question what you're doing or have any opposition? I know they're not here, but have you spoken to any of them or had any opposition?
No,
From them?
the sign's been right by my mailbox
Sure.
for 2 weeks or whatever. So
Okay.
that location is also up a fairly good hill from the road. So from the road or any of the neighbors' viewpoint, it's hardly visible.
Okay. Ms. Garrett?
How are you planning on accessing? Are you going to access the road? Are you going to access, how are you going to plan on driving your camper from wherever it's parked to?
In that diagram, at the very far left, there's actually years ago, I think there used to be a mobile home up in that section. There's already a driveway that's cut. It's grown over. I'll have to do some reworking, but yeah, I don't think you can really see it. But yeah, right there where your mouse is.
And Steve, there's no issue with that, is there, having the two jobs?
No, not with that much separation.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like in some of the Google Maps, you actually can see it. Yeah. Yeah.
What was that?
You can kind of see the driveway on the older aerials there,
Okay.
what used to be there.
Oh, that's just an old photograph? Yeah. Huh.
Mr. Huff?
Well, I'm going through the ordinance. Your site is irregular, no doubt about that, and it is narrow. And that's not something we generally find, that combination is not something we generally find in this district. Your use is not excluded, I don't think. I didn't hear that.
It is an allowed use.
And it seems to me like this is in harmony with the general purposes of the ordinance. It's on the outside of the curve on Harris Lane, so there's not a sight distance issue. For those reasons, I am going to recommend that it be approved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, you have been approved.
Build away.
Start building away.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Free to go?
Yeah, you're free to go. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, item number
4B is a request of Craig Pebblehouse. It's for a waiver of front yard setback from 50 feet to 25 feet at 5918 Edmondson Lane, CLT map 049, parcel 10001, property zoned AG in the 8th Commission District.
2. Is the applicant present? Do we have any opposition? Do we have any statements from codes, planning?
We do not.
Okay. You would please state your name and address for the record?
It's Craig Pebblehouse. It's 5918 Edmondson Lane.
Okay, perfect. Keep your mic close to you so we can hear you well.
Sorry.
All right, and if you would, please give us the reason and evidence supporting your request for your variance.
All right, so we're trying to do a garage out there on the side. If you can see from that picture, there's a power line that runs to my neighbor's house, so it kind of has this kind of in a bind there. I have about 77 feet roughly from the power line to the front property line. So if we go back 50 feet, it kind of limits me on what I can do. Because after the power line, my property just kind of takes a dive. So everything's kind of in the front. Yes.
Yep.
And they built everything on that very front corner, so it leaves us a little bit of room on the side.
And I understand there has to be a 10-foot setback from the electrical lines?
Yes, I think I calculated about 15 if I do a 25-foot setback.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone have any questions? Mr. Huff?
I don't have any questions. I just was going to say that, again, going through the ordinance, the area of the site where you could be in conformance is so steep it's nearly impossible to build on.
Yes.
And you do have an exceptional physical condition, that being the power line that runs across the service
Yes, sir.
line. I think the variance is the minimum adjustment needed to allow a reasonable use of the land. And it is in harmony with the general intent of the ordinance, so.
Let's see if you have a question. Let me see
Yes.
his question first.
On the, if you go back one, where he had the structure up, Kelly. Yeah, right here. On this structure, right here where you have your new car garage, you're setting it at an angle.
Yes, sir. Where I
Is there-
said, yeah,
What's the reason why you could not square that up?
I could. That's just how my wife wanted it.
Yes, you heard that?
That is an overriding criteria.
Would that make a difference?
Yeah,
in what we need?
if I needed to, I could square it up some. So I could move it around a little bit. That's just how she wanted it drawn up.
Are you accessing it from the roadside?
Yes.
It will make it easier to get in and out of.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, well, it probably would, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe why she was thinking.
But even
That could
squared
be, yeah.
up, it looks like it would still take the 25 feet.
It would, you'd still need the variance, yeah, with it squared up, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, we're going to run from the addition. There's a second septic system kind of behind where that garage is a good ways, and I'm having to run some lines from the addition over that way as well.
How do you plan to do your access?
To what?
Your garage?
The front? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yes, it'd be from the road, right there where the that one tree, it'll be kind of right there, so it'd be just a concrete from the road. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think that I'm not going to disagree with Mr. Huff's comments on the ordinance. Would you like to, I know this
Sure,
is your district, or you,
It's not.
Go right ahead.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, you have been approved.
Thank you. Y'all have a
Thank
good day.
you.
We don't have a variance for wives, by the way.
Oh, he said what he said. He had said, okay, just making sure. Okay. Yeah, he did. No, it was good. We got what you
So
need.
item 5B is a deferred request of Bruce Hill for waiver to allow internal illumination of the church sign. Property is located at 6500 Strawberry Plains Pike, CLT map 084, parcel 177, zone AG in the 8th Commission District.
Okay, and the applicant is present.
Yes.
Do we have any opposition? We have any statements from planning codes?
The applicant did provide documentation that the modifications to the sign were less than 50% of the total cost of the sign. So we believe the sign retained its legal nonconforming status.
Okay,
One question we would have is just to make sure they didn't further the extent of the nonconformity. I asked for that. I never received it, so hopefully the sign company here can speak to what the lumens were prior and what they are now.
okay. And if you would please state your name and address for the record.
My name's Chris Sliger, address 919 Harvest Drive, Seymour.
Okay, and if you would give us your reasoning and
Sure.
evidence supporting your request.
According to, by what he's saying, in the last meeting, we determined that if we were less than 50% of the value of the sign replacement, then there wouldn't even need to be a variance. We'd still be in grandfathered in legal noncompliance. So, like he said, we gave him that information. I did get some information from the sign guy that the lumens of the original sign that was damaged were 35,200 lumens, and the new sign is 13,440 lumens. It does look brighter, but by their explanation, it says the original lighting directly outward toward the face. The new LEDs focus the light to the center of the sign and not outward toward the face, which works to reduce the lumens leaving the sign, making the sign more dark sky compliant. That is from the sign company to me. I can give you this if you would like to have that.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, we would like to have in the record. Yeah,
You want to have that?
yes.
Okay,
please.
it's just at the top there, an email.
Okay.
Mr. Lloyd, do you have anything that you would like to comment on that?
Well, moving to LEDs, I'm sure you did reduce the wattage and therefore reduce the lumens. The appreciable amount of light by the human eye would see the LEDs as brighter, but in reality, with an instrument, it probably isn't. I really don't see a problem with this thing.
I don't.
Okay, do we have any other questions regarding the cost? I think that we've kind of settled that with it being, the cost being less than 50% of a new sign.
I would like to thank you all for giving us the information about the cost.
Sure, no problem.
And also about the lumens.
Thank you.
Y'all have anything, Coach?
No, I think we're good.
No opposition.
Mr. Lloyd?
I would just go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
Can we have our reasoning for the record? It's non-conforming?
For what it's worth, This is a pre-existing non-conforming use. We've determined that the repairs that were done did not remove it from that status. Therefore, to the extent you care about my opinion, I don't think you need to do anything except remove it from the agenda.
So no
We're
variance
gonna
was
move
needed?
that?
Correct, okay.
All right, so let's,
I'll make the motion to remove from the agenda because it does meet within the guidelines and there's no variance needed.
A second.
okay, all in favor? Opposed?
Thank you very much.
So moved. I'm going to, okay, we're going to now, we're
Hey,
taking the floor.
Chair, should we refund the money for those folks, or should we, I would leave that up to the board. If they wanted to, then they would need to vote for that, if that's.
You know,
They requested it.
yeah.
Yeah, and we did have a lot of time and.
Exactly.
I would say no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Take the money and buy an iPhone 14.
All right,
I think an iPhone 14 costs more than that.
We are going to adjourn the June 2023 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting.